Settle down, brother. This is the Quarter Report powered by NCA.com. South Africa is a movie. Welcome to the watch party. Caught in the act. A CEO placed on special leave over an 836 million rand tender scandal. We spoke about it yesterday. We spoke about it on the TV show on Monday. We did the interview with Azara Karim. And then just this morning, her partner in investigating crime, the investigative journalist from Daily Maverick, Pieter-Louis Myburgh, released footage of the CEO Tebogo Malaka and the spokesperson of the IDT trying to bribe him in a public place with 60,000 rands worth of money in 200 rand notes placed in a white Dior bag. And we have footage in a way that we've never had footage before of an explicit attempt by powerful people to bribe off a journalist to quash an investigation. We are so blessed. And South Africa, we as a people and as a country do not appreciate more the bravery and the skill and the work of investigative journalists in this country, because without them, we would know so little of the evils, the corruption, and the exploitation and the daylight, in this case, robbery, happening in government and around business and political elites in this country. And I cannot give enough flowers to Azara Karim and Pieter-Louis Myburgh from Daily Maverick. And we're going to talk about the broader assault on those trying to uncover corruption and criminality involving powerful people in this country. So that's what today's show is. We're going to work through all of that footage. As always, you can watch the full show on enca.com. That's the only place to watch the entire show. The link is in the description. And as always, you can go and get your merchandise. More and more people who listen to Quarter Report around the world are asking if they can make orders to arrive in countries that are not South Africa. Yes, you can. You just need to email contact@3beaniesnetwork.com and we will sort that out. And speaking of listeners around the world, we need to talk about the map. Because in the last 24 hours, my brother James has suffered all kinds of attacks for the map that he has made using a highlighter, which, let's be honest, doesn't have all of the countries in the world on the map. Let's just first say what people have been saying about you in regards to the New Zealand disaster. So there isn't really New Zealand on that map, although James has found a tiny corner of New Zealand down by Australia at the bottom. Jan says, poor New Zealand, missed again. And then we got another message from, I don't know how to pronounce that, in the comments on YouTube saying, Quarter Report is part of the Australian conspiracy against New Zealand. They mentioned New Zealand, but somehow no New Zealand on map.
Do you wonder if a sheep commented that?
Or just an All Blacks rugby player.
Yeah. That's the only thing I know about New Zealand.
Okay, so let's get into the new countries. Thank you so much for all of your different checking in. Since yesterday, we got Austria and Saudi Arabia and Luxembourg, Madagascar, Finland, and Panama. But the people who I really want to highlight on the WhatsApp line, remember, you can become a recorder. The number is 0607-613-436. We love your voice notes. We love your messages. We love the WhatsApp line because you can send us links to things you want us to watch or think about, things that you've made in a way that the YouTube comment section can't. And I want to highlight 3 different phenomenal people. Jagger, who we had on the show yesterday, and then Petra and Petrus, unrelated, we think. It would be weird to assume that just because their names are similar, they're the same. They've all offered to make us maps or provide maps to help out James. Because, James, the allegations are really hectic against your name at the moment about whether or not you deserve to be on the show. So Petrus sent a message in, hey, people at the Beanie Network, I was bored after a long meeting, so spent the final few minutes creating this for you guys based on the list you put up for the Worldwide Watch Party. It's a simple R script that generates the map based on a CSV. I can share the script with you guys. That highlights a map just seems so sad to me. All you would need to do is update the CSV, run the script, and then you have interactive HTML world map you can publish anywhere. Petrus, this is a great map. I just want to tell you that neither James nor I knows any of the things that you claimed were simple in your text.
I have not heard a single one of those words before just now. And that is not a reflection on me. That is a reflection on you.
Isn't CVS a TV network in America?
No, CVS is a pharmacy in America.
Is it?
Yeah.
Isn't that I'm not going to get into any more trouble today.
I know something.
Okay. I just find it incredibly devastating that he said that he created this map in a few minutes. And then you've been working hard on that. And then Petra sent us a video of a glorious scratch-in map that she is willing to donate. She lives in, I think, Cape Town. Well, she said Woodstock. There's Woodstock in multiple cities. This is a really nice map, Petra. I will say, based on my cursory glance, that some fundamental things in the world have changed since this map was made. So Sudan now needs a South Sudan. So we may need to work on that.
I just would like to identify that she did not make that map.
Stop fighting. She sourced a better map than you sourced.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then finally, and most impressively, Jagger sent us an HTML, again, something we don't know what that is. Says, Cat Matlala loves Dan Corder and the list of places Cat won't go. Speaking about George the Cat, not the actual Cat Matlala. And if you open it up, as we're showing, Cat Matlala's map for Dan, South Africa's movie, welcome to the Where the Watch Party is From. This is a brief outline of all the places, watching the South Africa story unfold, brought to you by ENCA. And you can type in a country and highlight it and get an interactive map that actually works.
Can I just say,
So cool.
I'm not willing to fight this one. This one is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, we will be using this. So let's get into this absolutely incredible, unbelievable. This is truly one of those, the iconic rugby journalist Hugh Bladen. Unbelievable. It's one of those moments where we really mean it. Pieter-Louis Myburgh has been investigating the IDT, the Independent Development Trust, and particularly the people around the CEO Tebogo Malaka for a while now. He's been working with people like Azara Karim, who you would have heard or watched on the podcast yesterday if you're watching on enca.com or listening to the show via a podcast streamer. And they have basically made the country aware of this extraordinary tender scandal where the Independent Development Trust, their job is to spend billions of rands a year making sure that social welfare projects happen that the government wants to happen, particularly when there are departments that need to try and get this work done that are either don't have the capacity to do so, or would rather the IDT do it for them. And as Azara Karim told us on the TV show on Monday, a lot of the time, the processes in the IDT are quite opaque. There's very, very little reporting. The money goes in. We don't really know how it gets spent because it's part of the government, but it's not facing the same auditing regulations that the government departments have to provide. They have basically uncovered this tender scandal where a tender to the value of 836 million rand was awarded to a company and a variety of people that do not have the qualifications, the track record, even the medical licenses to provide what the tender requires, which is the provision of oxygen to clinics and hospitals, over 50 of them across South Africa, that need that oxygen to give to patients who are suffering medical health emergencies and medical health procedures. And then this morning, and this is genuinely, Pieter-Louis Myburgh in his article opens it on the Daily Maverick's site, which I encourage you to go read. He writes, in possibly the most brazen act of attempted bribery ever recorded on camera in this country, the IDT's suspended CEO and the entity's spokesperson offered this journalist 60,000 rand in cash to bury an ongoing Daily Maverick investigation. And we have the video. We're going to work through it now. The woman sitting across from Pieter-Louis Myburgh is Tebogo Malaka, and the man next to her is Pasha Magolane, the IDT's spokesperson. So Pieter-Louis Myburgh says they met up on the Sunday, the 3rd of August, which was literally last weekend, at a restaurant in Stellenbosch near a big wine farm, and they basically presented the money to Pieter-Louis Myburgh to try and get him to stop the ongoing investigation into this tender fraud scandal, as well as, and this is something else that we need to know and spread the news on, Pieter-Louis Myburgh and team are investigating the CEO, Tebogo Malaka, for a bunch of other really dodgy things that she's involved in, involving contractors who work with the IDT and property. And so what Malaka wished to do was, in this word quoted by Pieter-Louis Myburgh, settle the issue relating to her property by paying them off. So they go and sit. Pieter-Louis Myburgh says that writes that he was fairly certain about what was going on, but he wasn't going to miss out on this opportunity to expose what Malaka and the spokesperson, Magolane, were about to try and do. So they're sitting at the table across from Pieter-Louis Myburgh, and they bring out a bag. The spokesperson does, looks like a leather brown bag, open it up and take out what is apparently a Dior shopping bag. Pieter-Louis Myburgh, they pass it to him. It's stuffed with 200 rand notes to the value of 60,000 rand. Pieter-Louis Myburgh keeps his cool, opens the bag, puts the stack of 200 Rand notes on the table, takes a photo, and then gets up. Well, sorry, to be clear, returns the money and then gets up and walks away. And then in the footage just after that, you see this kind of shocked moment of the CEO and the spokesperson being like, what just happened? And they quickly get up and walk away too. And to someone who's already commented on my TikTok coverage of this, no, I don't know if anyone paid for the drinks that was sitting on the table. This is really, one, such world-class investigative journalism. Two, so shocking because we know that this kind of stuff happens in South Africa, but to see it, to watch it happening in a wide open public place, to watch the dynamic unfold, to watch like the CEO and the spokesperson try to be joking and smiley about the whole affair and to try and make it look as normal as possible, to watch Pieter-Louis Myburgh take the photo and walk away, it is jaw-dropping to witness. And we rarely see any of these moments caught on camera anywhere in the world. I'm pretty sure it's never happened in South Africa before. And finally, as many more people have been saying today, I don't think Pieter-Louis Myburgh would have accepted any size of bribe, but 60,000 Rand is not enough money to pay off someone to stop investigating their property and deals and an 836 million Rand dodgy tender. That is borderline disrespectful. I know journalists don't get paid enough in this country, but 60K is not enough considering the amount of money they have flowing around. It is almost embarrassingly low. I'm laughing from shock, but also the audacity to think that 60K would get rid of the investigations of such an excellent journalist who's already done so much good work to expose you. It is absolutely incredible to watch.
Yeah, I just want to say that is the most badass I've ever seen in my life when he stands up. It is so fucking cool. Apologies for the swearing to me because I'm going to have to bleep it out.
And Eric.
And Eric, sorry, Eric. But also there's something else that I find even more sinister. And it's something that I've been thinking about a lot because oftentimes you hear these stories and you think, how could someone do this? Like, how could someone rationalize stealing government money, which is supposed to be literally for oxygen for people who are ill,
medical crises.
Yeah, and government. It's not private. It's government. It's taxpayers' money. How do you rationalize this for yourself? How do you make this make sense for you? And in a private conversation, when the sort of fixer, the sort of rep leaves, it's just the spokesperson. When it's just Pieter-Louis Myburgh and her sitting together, she's like, like I've got kids and my parents are ill, and I was sitting there going, oh, okay. So you do rationalize this for yourself. You don't think of yourself as doing some great evil. You're thinking about it as some sort of like altruistic thing that you're doing for your family, looking after. But you're stealing close to R1 billion from people who are ill.
That, of course, didn't all go to her, but the cut for her would be incredible. But that's the other thing, is that maybe she was rationalizing that for herself as though it wasn't some kind of big evil or everyone is doing it. But the other thing that she may have been doing was putting on what she thought would appeal to the empathy and the humanity in Pieter-Louis Myburgh to not expose her. That is terrifying. That is like a level of sociopathy that is also just awful to try and process, to flip that on, to flip that switch. And as James says, deny the humanity and the suffering of all the people who are failed when this oxygen tender goes wrong. And also, the other thing that is appalling to me is genuinely all kinds of people in South Africa have serious problems, have sick family members, have children, are down on their luck. And you know what they don't do? Corrupt nearly R1 billion worth of tenders. You know what they don't do? Do shady deals with contractors at work. You know what they don't do? Try to pay off journalists. And by the way, if you didn't watch or listen to the full interview yesterday with Azara Karim or on Monday night on the TV show, after Azara and her team met someone involved in the IDT a little while ago, 3 or 4 days later, that person was found dead. So this isn't, mom and pop shop, I just made a little mistake. I didn't keep up with my taxation. Like I got confused by the tax returns. No, this is people are dying. This is money is being taken out of ATMs to pay off journalists. This is, as Azara Karim spoke about on Monday and then yesterday on the podcast, this is orchestrated, targeted campaigns of bots to harass people online, besmirch the reputations of journalists, twist the truth, and fudge what is actually happening in this situation. And when you think about the amount of sacrifices and the day-to-day bravery and the day-to-day suffering that investigative journalists need to endure to do their work, it makes it so laughable and so disrespectful and so offensive when people on the internet accuse them of being paid for shills who are making shit up and are trying to like besmirch good people's reputation, and they're on the bankroll of this person, or they're compromised by that person. They are enduring awful shit in extremely risky scenarios. You really think that they are part of some grand evil conspiracy at this level of sacrifice? No, you don't really think that. What you're trying to do is exploit the moment. And frankly, in a situation where an investigative journalist is being criticized by a member of the media or a politician, I think to myself, who is more likely to be bought off in this situation? Who is more likely to be attacking based on secret money, secret flows of money that are trying to compromise? Is it the investigative journalist who's gone through absolute horrors, not been paid particularly well, put their own lives in danger, experienced extraordinary mental ill health, and had to expose themselves so much to uncover this, and has reams and reams of evidence to back up their claims? Or is it the politician, or the opinionista commentariat, or the member of the police force, or the member of the SANDF, or crime intelligence? Who is more likely to be compromised and bought off? Now, I know that the media is complicated. I know that different media houses broadly have different agendas and different focuses and different blind spots. I know broadly that different media houses are owned by different groups of investors. Some media houses are kind of associated with or influenced by the government. Other ones are owned by big business elites. All of that is true. And we need to be skeptical of all media houses and be careful to notice what their blind spots are and what they do like to talk about, and how that may be influenced by who's paying. But I'm making a distinction here, because investigative journalists are not the media the way that the rest of the media is. Investigative journalists are going through everything I've just described in a way that members of the media are not. And they are just far less likely to be compromised than the policing networks, the political networks, the business networks, and the media commentariat networks. So when you see an investigative journalist like this being attacked for an extensive piece of work that they've done, that for some reason the big elite security forces in this country have not been able to do or chosen not to do, and you see investigative journalists being attacked by politicians and business people and the rest, think to yourself, who is more likely to be speaking, to be paid for, to be speaking for their financiers? And who is more likely to be trying to destroy somebody's reputation to protect themselves? Because I think it is very, very clear. I'm not saying that every investigative journalist is a saint. I'm not saying that every investigative journalist does perfect work that is always right. But on the whole, think about it, in the words of Coconut Kells.